I'm Anthony Rangel, and welcome to the A-List. Have you ever had questions about your animal's behavior? Things like, why does my dog chew on my couch when I'm not home? Or maybe, why does my cat miss the litter box? Joining me today is Steve Dale, a certified dog and cat behavior consultant who can answer these questions and more. Hey, Steve.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. So let's get right into it. What are some of the crazy questions you get asked?
Oh, I get crazy questions all the time. I write a newspaper column, and in that newspaper column now for 17, 18 years, people have been writing me, asking me questions about their pets. Now, most of the questions that I get are behavior related. Why does my cat, why does my dog, sometimes parrot or ferret, why does my animal do this? Fill in the blank. The most commonly asked question I get, cats missing the litter box.
Right.
That's number one, above and beyond anything else. But you asked me about unusual questions. A couple of weeks ago, I received one. In fact, this question is in my book, Good Cat. I was able to include some unusual questions in the book. And the cat goes to the giant screen television and goes, but only when Justin Bieber is on. Why does this cat seem infatuated with Justin Bieber? That's the question that I get from this reader of my newspaper column. So I answered that I don't exactly know. Maybe it's the tone of the music or something. But clearly, this cat has Bieber fever.
Yeah. Because, so we mentioned, I talked to you earlier, and you said you were writing a new book. Let's talk about that.
Sure. So I've got these books up where I answer behavior questions, common questions, the questions that most pet owners have. One is called Good Dog, as I said. The other is called, no, that's wrong. Let me do that again. Good Dog. That's the whole idea.
Yeah.
Let's reward our dogs. Let's be happy about it. And the other is called Good Cat. But I'm working now on a book with the College of Veterinary Behaviorists. If you have a really serious problem with your pet, first thing, anytime that your pet acts differently than how it acted the week before, see your veterinarian, because there may be a physical component to it. And veterinary behaviorists, that's a specialty. You know, there are specialists in human medicine as well as veterinary medicine, in heart disease, cardiac veterinarians, in neurology, veterinary neurologists. There's a long list of these specialties. In cancer, veterinary oncology. Well, one of the specialties is in behavior. And I am writing, in conjunction with the veterinary behaviorist, this book that'll be out sometime next year.
Right. So, how is the process writing these books? Is it fun? I mean, like...
Well, I no, not really. I wish I could say yes, but I'd be lying to you. And that's never a good idea. I enjoy it to a degree. The process of writing, you know what? I think, and I've been writing newspaper columns, when they asked me about writing this pet column that I write for Tribune Media Services maybe 18 years ago, I thought, my God, it's a twice weekly column. I'm going to run out of ideas after 8 days, you know?
Well,
I mean,
did you?
I never have.
Never have?
Never have.
Well,
So I think I'm a reporter, a good reporter, not such a great writer necessarily, actually. The process of it I don't love, but I've been doing it for a very long time, and I know how to do it, and I know how to pump out those stories. And as far as books go, I'm still, it's still of a learning process for me, but this was a little different. This was me editing the scientist, and they are the veterinary behaviorists. Everything they do is based on science, and then I kind of People magazined it, you know, so everyone can understand and get it, and it's relatable. And if you have a dog, it'll be out next year.
So we've been talking a lot about writing, but you also do radio programs. So
I do.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
For a long time, I've been hosting several different radio shows. I'm on WGN Radio, 720 AM in Chicago, and I host 2 national radio shows as well. So no matter where you are in the country, Anthony, you can't get away from me. People try, they can't.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun because I get all these emails from people who read either my newspaper column that are traveling somewhere. I just saw you in Jacksonville, Florida. A friend of a friend of a friend just caught me on the radio, some small town in Ohio. So they try to lose me. It's apparently not easy to do.
Have you been trying to reach like more pet owners now, like, and are you trying to help more than you have been lately?
I love that question because that's what I'm all about. I mean, the more people I can reach, the more that I can convey answers that are based on science, and hopefully reasonable answers. I mean, there was a time, still is, a certain dog trainer on television who says you have to dominate your dog, tell your dog who's boss. Well, that's absurd. So what I do is I answer questions based on what we know, not necessarily my viewpoints so much as what science tells us.
So you also do like you speak, you like for big events and stuff. So how does that go?
It goes fine. In June, I have a lot of those big events to speak at. I'll be at a shelter dog conference. I'll be speaking there. In fact, about the problem of cats thinking outside the box. I am, where else am I speaking in June? I'm speaking at a conference called Blog Pause. I write a blog for the Chicago Tribune, chicagonow.com/Steve Dale. And anything and everything that's new in the world of pets I try to report on. I'll be speaking at the Bloggers Conference to others who blog about pets. But I'm going to 2 more as well in June. You don't need to hear the whole schedule. But I love communicating to colleagues most of all. I love learning from colleagues.
Right, so these events are just, I mean, for anyone, like kids and adults? And
Not so much. They're greatly for professionals.
Right.
But yes, sure, people come and ask me to speak at different groups, and when I can, I'm happy to do that. Or do television shows at high schools.
Yeah. Do people like coming up and like ask you after you're done speaking, like any questions? Like, are they like, can you help me with this problem?
Yeah, sure. I mean, everyone has a problem with their pet, or a question. Not necessarily a problem, but a curiosity. Why does my dog do that? Why does my cat do that? That's unique, they think, to their pet. And sometimes it is, you know. All our animals are different. So yes, people stop me on the street and ask me questions about their pets.
So have you had any like other cool TV appearances that?
I've had many cool TV appearances. I guess my coolest was and most interesting for me was being asked to be on the Oprah Winfrey Show.
Right. Yeah, I read about that.
Yeah, which I did.
Right.
And
how'd they go?
I was thrilled to do it. It was a remote. It wasn't in studio, and I was there to talk about and demonstrate dog etiquette. So if you're in the park having a little picnic and a dog runs through your picnic, what do you do? If you're in the park and a dog comes up to you and sniffs you, where it might be rather a personal place to sniff, what do you do about it? As the dog owner, what do you do? And what do you do as that person who's being sniffed? So the thing was, how do we get dogs to do these things? And they're not necessarily trained actor dogs. They're just folks who have dogs. So for example, to get the dog to sniff, you want me to tell you? In that one very private place.
Yeah.
You know what we did?
What?
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter?
Peanut butter. Just a little bit of it. Camera couldn't pick it up, but the dog's nose sure can. And the dog very quickly obliged. We didn't even have to do another take on that. It was a lot of fun to do. It was great.
Yeah.
And I knew Oprah Winfrey just a little bit years and years and years and years ago when I covered entertainment, and she was always the nicest person. I never did anything in studio with her, but I did do that one shot where we weren't in studio but rather at a remote location.
Have you ever worked with dogs that like sniff out like drugs and stuff like that, like the canines that go like with the police?
Yeah, it's amazing what a dog's nose can do.
Right.
Dogs have a nose that is about 10,000 to 40,000 times as effective as ours. We can't even comprehend what that means. Those are just numbers.
Right.
But if you were to get down on all fours and sniff a blade of grass, probably you're not smelling much.
Right.
Maybe you'd smell the blade of grass. Maybe if there's something there, you'd smell that. But really, what would you smell? A dog can smell what has been there.
Right.
In another dog's, you know how dogs aim for the fire hydrant?
Right.
And then the next dog comes along and sniffs
they,
that, right?
Right.
That dog is getting the 411 on every dog that's been there. That dog is discovering who's been there, which other dogs have been there. Not by name, but they can tell the other dogs that have been there. But they can tell a lot about that dog. The dog's sex, the dog's general health. They can tell if the dog is in reproductive mode or not. There is a lot. It's like handing out a business card. And they can tell so much just by sniffing another dog or even where another dog has been. It is amazing. If a certain scent is underwater, There are dogs that can discriminate that scent, if they're trained to do so, even under 3 to 5 or 6 feet of water.
Wow.
As just some examples of what dogs can do.
Well, thanks, but that's all the time we have. That was the A-List. Thanks for joining us.
I was on the A-list? Nice.